Alright, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about credit cards. Alright, so credit cards allow a person to borrow money to make purchases. So I think I'm saying something that most of you are probably somewhat familiar with, but there's a big difference between a credit card and a debit card. So whereas a debit card is linked to your checking account, which means that if you spend money using your debit card, you're only able to do so because you must have money in your checking account to allow that purchase to take place, so you have the money for it. A credit card is allowing you to spend somebody else's money. You are borrowing money from a bank or from that credit card provider, whatever company it is, and essentially they are paying for your purchase right now. And then about 4 to 6 weeks are going to go by and you're going to have a due date and you're going to have to pay back at the very least a portion of how much that purchase was. So this is allowing you to borrow money. This also means that it can be very dangerous because you're able to buy things that you don't actually have the money for, you can't afford. So one of the main things we're going to talk about in this video is the importance of using this credit very responsibly, only buying things that you can actually afford. And when we say afford, what I mean by that is that you can actually pay that credit card bill off in full at the end of the month. All right, credit limit refers to the maximum that you're able to borrow on a single credit card. So for example, if you have a $1,000 credit limit on a particular card, that means that you can buy up to $1,000 worth of stuff at any given time, and you can't go over that. So you can't exceed your credit limit. So it's like a hard cap or maximum on how much you're able to borrow. All right, and then something that I think, again, most people have heard of is your credit rating or your credit score. This is essentially, it's a number that's used to estimate a person's credit worthiness. So essentially, when lenders are deciding whether or not they should give you a credit card or extend a line of credit to you, they can look at this number that looks at your behavior in the past and on your current income, and they can decide how risky they think you are. So obviously some people, because they haven't paid their bills back in the past, or if they have very low income or something like that, then they are riskier than somebody who has a stable job with a solid income and that has paid their bills back in the past. And you can see here are the 5 elements of your credit score. They include the length of your credit history. As far as the credit mix goes, that's as far as like what type of loans do you have? Is it credit cards? Is it mortgage? Is it student loans? Or is it all credit card? How many new lines of credit have you opened in a recent past? But then look at the big ones. 35% refer to your payment history. Have you paid your bills on time in the past? That's a good predictor that you will continue to do so. And how much do you owe? So looking at your total amount of debt that you have as well. So again, we're going to talk about this a lot more in class and get down to the breakdown of your credit score and credit rating, but that gives you a brief intro to it now. All right, so the main thing we want to do, like I said, I want to emphasize the need to use credit responsibly. So you want to start building credit when you're young, because remember, one of the things that they look at is the length of your credit history. So the younger you are when you begin, the better potentially. But here's the important caveat, but only if you use that credit responsibly. So if you start when you're 18, that can be good, but if you then run up, you max out your credit cards and go into debt, that is very, very bad. So you want to build credit hopefully from a relatively young age, but you have to know that you can do that responsibly. If you can't, then you're not ready for credit. Don't use credit cards to buy things you can't afford. If you aren't going to be able to pay off that purchase in full at the end of the month, then that means you can't afford it. Don't use a credit card to buy stuff you can't afford. Even if it's on sale, by the time you add in the interest you're going to be paying, you're going to pay way more than that price that originally was on the sticker for that or on the price tag. Along with that, pay off your bill in full each month. So don't pay the minimum balance. Sometimes it might be $15, $20, $35, something like that. Pay off the balance in full every month so you don't have to pay any interest, you don't have any revolving debt. Don't apply for credit cards too frequently. Don't max out whatever credit cards you do have. Again, using a lot of your available credit is seen as risky. Applying for multiple credit cards, that can also be seen as risky. And you do have the ability to check your credit report once a year at no monetary cost, so you don't have to pay for it. Go to that website, annualcreditreport.com. That takes you to a website by the federal government. So I'm not promoting Credit Karma or any private company that's trying to make money off of this. You have a right to do this, and you actually do it through the government, annualcreditreport.com. Check that for your credit report annually. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button for me. This has been a LaMoney production.
If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, the lunar